I wasn't recording! No! Oh, we had a bit going! No! Welcome back to the Escape Podcast. We're playing Gartic Phone because Discord made it free.
Let's think of a podcast. A podcast, a sentence.
Wait, hold on.
Are you in the game?
It wants me to authorize
still haven't
access
authorized?
to my username avatar.
Just click yes.
Read your voice settings and listen for voice events. Set your current activity. I wanted to paint a happy little tree, though. What? No. That's sad. Real shame. Okay, wait, hold on. I don't know how to play this.
You're gonna get a sentence, and then you have to draw it.
No, it's saying write a sentence.
Yeah, we're both gonna get a sentence, and we both draw it. This is supposed to be a game for, like, multiple people, so it doesn't really work with two people. Can't think of a sentence? Okay, yours was a pretty creative sentence, I guess. Oh my goodness, this is not a lot of time.
Oh, wait, how much time is it? Where is it? I don't see it. Ah! Oh, actually, that's not that bad, actually. You had me scared for nothing. I'm not recording my screen, though. You didn't give me time to record my screen. How am I supposed to... Hold on, are you recording your screen?
You just have to cut to the finished product.
No! But I want people to see me drawing! Oh, no! Hold on, I'm turning on, start recording. Okay, I've got OBX.
OBX, Outer Banks.
What is it? What is the...
Open Broadcasting Software, OBS.
Oh no, I'm freaking out now. My drawing got worse. I'm panicking. Help. Oh, wait. Draw your little cowlick. No, that looked bad! Where's the undo button?
On the right.
No, that still looks bad. I didn't draw your hair with the, like, the shape it's supposed to have. Where's the eraser? Gotta make it look like a microphone. Somehow. And the TV screen. Yes. Yeah. Chairs. Legs. Yeah. Posters on the wall. Yeah. Title card, something. Yeah. My legs. Table legs. The table needs to stand. Yes! Time! Back legs! The other side is cut off.
We did it. We're making it out of the hood with this one, bro.
We're making it out of the hood with it. We're making it out of space with this one, boys.
Are you ready for the...
We escaping with this one.
Are you ready for the, what's it called? The exhibition. Ready?
I am recording, right? Yes, thank goodness. Okay,
Us
go.
doing a podcast. Your response?
Yes.
Okay, no color, but...
There was color! Is there a fill tool?
There was lots.
Dang it! No!
Alright, here's corn cob as murder weapon.
Yes! Let's go!
And that's what I got.
Yeah! That's good! I'm loving it! Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Alright. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast. This is how we're starting every episode now. One round of two-player Gartic Phone, which eliminates the entire purpose of the game, because the purpose of the game is to... You get a prompt. Do you know how to play it? You get a prompt. The prompt, you draw it, and then it's like telephone. So you're drawing...
The YouTube animators who play it never explain the rules. They just say, look
Jonathan,
how funny
it's like
the end
telephone.
result is.
So your drawing gets passed to the next person, and then they have to try to guess what sentence your drawing was like the prompt was for your drawing, and then that sentence gets passed on to somebody who draws it again. So basically, the drawing gets morphed over time. But yeah, as a 2-player game, it's literally just we tell each other what to draw and then draw it. So, but I think I would have gotten. I think both of our drawings were suggestive enough that if we were playing Gartic Phone, that they would the next person would have guessed correctly. So that's success, I guess.
Dude, yours is very spot on.
Thank you. I think yours is goes without saying that it's spot on because it looks exactly like our podcast backgrounds.
Yeah, I've drawn that 1,000 times by now.
I can tell. Apparently not enough to include color, but I guess
I didn't know
you
color
were working
existed.
on half time.
I'm like Charlie Chaplin or whatever. My world is in black and white.
Wow.
It's
what
just
a
like my
reference.
mask.
So what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I was gonna say, in our cold open that got written over by our bit that we started that I don't even remember now that we failed to record it. That I've been trying to practice Dandori Man, but it just hasn't been working out. I was gonna make a joke about how I think the brain fog has finally lifted. I'm increasingly anxious though. I don't think that's ever gonna be on the decline. But now my back kind of hurts, and I have like mild heartburn. But you know what? Gartic Phone healed both of them, I think. Only problem is now I want to like take a nap so I can like fully recover from it all. But that'll have to wait. Speaking of naps, though, that's why my back hurt to begin with. It's like all my best positions to sleep in hurt me if I sleep in them for more than like 5, not even 5 minutes, probably
I'm
like
also
1 minute.
I'm hearing that chair in the background squeaking.
Oh yeah, that's because I'm doing
yeah, but
stretches.
it's reminding me that chair is probably not helping your back either. You know what I'm saying? And
it doesn't feel too uncomfortable.
I thought we agreed you were gonna buy a chair. I'm still holding you to it.
Are we gonna jump right into?
Okay, no, we don't have to. But you just buy a chair, man. Buy a chair, man.
We can. This might be relevant to a later topic. I have a lot to talk about, kind of, now that the brain fog is lifted, so I'm finally willing to talk about Nintendo games, and also about just some interesting things that have happened to me recently. And of course, here's Jason, with today's update on stuff on the internet that I haven't seen, because I've been trying to do sort of an internet detox lately. Has anything interesting happened since last time?
I guess this is...
Has anything happened in Plato's Cave?
This is where I'm supposed to have something, but I don't
really
because I've been so busy. Actually, this last week felt like about 2.5 days at most for me because I've been so busy and working on so much stuff for school that this week has felt like I don't even know. The only things that come to mind are, well, I've got 2 things. One is I heard about this, I guess it's a semi-popular story. This prank YouTuber guy who was doing a quote-unquote prank on some random guy in a shopping mall who happened to be a delivery driver. And
is this going to be like our past prank conversation?
And the dude that he was doing the prank on happened to have a concealed carry permit. So he was in this mall and he had a gun. No. And the guy pranking him, just to be clear, this guy is like scum of the earth type YouTube prankster. So his prank...
Yeah, I could tell by the way you're setting up. His prank
was apparently walking up to this random guy and pretending like he was one of those like predator catchers and pretending to read out like supposedly messages that this random person, has sent to like a minor. That's the prank. Like the prank was... Dude, we saw those messages you sent to this kid, like just to a random person. That was their prank, and it was like, dude. It was I forget what the message was, but like wherever I watched, like on the news, they had to censor part of it, so it was obviously something like vulgar that they were just like harassing this dude with.
Man.
But anyways,
dude, what is wrong with you?
He got unlucky because this guy had a concealed carry permit, and he whipped out his gun and shot him in the mall, which is crazy.
Did he die?
No, he did not
die. He didn't die.
He got shot
Okay, thank goodness, because that's
I guess
too
he got
far
like
even for
shot in
something
the
like that.
side or maybe like the leg, because I don't think it was like severe, but I mean obviously like hospitalized, but I don't think it was like life threatening at all. But now
I'm not going to get into my opinions on concealed carry, as I'm sure you aren't either. But I don't think you should ever,
well, I'm getting to that.
resort to shooting someone over what is essentially verbal harassment.
Yeah, we're getting to that.
But man, if as far as the realm of verbal harassment goes, if this guy wasn't asking for it,
So what happened was this guy got charged with, I believe charged is the correct word, was indicted, I guess. Indicted with 2 crimes. Let me actually pull those up so that I can...
The guy who shot him,
so that
right?
I can tell you exactly what it was.
What is the second one?
It was 2...
I wonder. I feel like some of these things these prank channels are doing should be considered crimes too, though. Like, is this not libel? Or whatever, like, you just come up and like, pretend as a prank to accuse someone?
That would be if you published. Libel is, like, published.
Oh, yeah,
slander.
yeah. Slander, I guess, then.
But it also wouldn't really be slander, because I guess he's just not...
Oh, I should stop my OBS
But let me see.
recording.
It was... Okay, so I can't find where they're saying both of the crimes. But it was 2 related to, assault. And the jury acquitted him on one of the charges and convicted him of the other. So there was basically 2 charges he could have faced, and he was acquitted of one of them, which was...
This feels a bit...
He was acquitted of aggravated...
odd and insensitive to talk about a shooting while we've got corncob as murder weapon on screen.
He was acquitted of aggravated malicious...
How do you drop this, actually?
Aggravated malicious wounding. I can't find where the one that he was convicted of is. But anyways.
Aggravated malicious wounding.
Basically,
there
the
are
idea...
some weirdly specific charges you can put on someone.
Malicious discharge of a firearm is the one he was convicted of. So it was basically like apparently a very torn jury, because they were like, this guy obviously like was getting harassed and didn't actually do anything wrong to be getting harassed. Like it was completely unwarranted harassment. But at the same time, the harassment was not at a level where like the proper self-defense response was like violence, like physical violence.
Exactly what I said earlier. I think the reason why, though, is it feels so conflicting is because, as we sort of implied earlier, while it feels like there kind of should be, there's probably no legal precedent you can take against the harasser in this case, the scum of the earth prank channel guy. So it feels like you're just validating him by putting this guy, maybe not behind bars. I guess you would for something like this. It wouldn't just be a fine. But either way, punishing him and then just letting the other guy go off free and saying he got, all of the brunt of this confrontation. Because, I mean, this wouldn't have happened if you hadn't been stupid, bro.
Yeah.
Like, he still shouldn't have done that, but, like, you kind of initiated. Like, you were asking for this, man.
From this news article, the prank guy runs the channel called Classified Goons. I don't know what that... That sounds like an AI generated name.
I know.
Classified?
Does he mean like certified?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like
something?
certified. But...
And then even goon isn't like a. It seems like he's trying to like label themselves as troublemakers or something.
I don't
goon
know.
just sort of like means like a henchman or something.
Classified.
What are they saying they are?
They're top secret government
underlings?
pranksters, dude. They're classified.
I don't.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think this guy has like an IQ of maybe 2.5.
To quote this Fox 5 article, it says his channel has more than 50,000 subscribers, is replete with off-putting stunts, like pretending to vomit on Uber drivers and following unsuspecting customers through department stores.
Wait, hold on. The prank is just stalking people?
And apparently the sheriff's deputies testified that they were well aware of Cook, the prankster, and have received calls about previous stunts. So apparently this guy is like a repeat offender. Like multiple people have called the police about him like harassing people.
Okay, I officially don't care what they do. I mean, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I don't care how they charge the other guy. Just do something about this guy. Like, he is a menace.
Well, you're going to love this next
his
sentence
posse
then.
of goons.
Cook said he continues to make videos from which he earns $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Basically, this guy has said, he's basically taken it in the opposite direction, Jonathan. Instead of taking this as like a sobering life lesson that he needs to change, he's basically doubled down. He's like, you know what? I'm going to prove that I can prank even harder because I got shot the first time. You know, let me go until I get shot again, apparently. He's basically taken this whole situation as a opportunity to double down on it. So
I feel like I've heard slightly less extreme versions of this exact same story. Like, this is like a virus. This is like, people talk
it's the
about
Clout
like
virus, Jonathan.
People, especially around when COVID hit again, people were talking about like if something like a real life zombie virus would ever happen, where it like infects people, keeps them alive, and spreads to other people. No, it's gonna be something psychological, dog, and it might not even be like physically traceable. Like, we're just gonna do something to our brains, and it's gonna be the prank. It's gonna be a mass hysteria. We were talking about earlier. The prank channel mass hysteria. We're all just gonna become scum of the earth pranksters, and we're gonna spread it to other people as like a means of survival. Because you're paying people to like. It's like he said, he makes however much money off his prank videos. We're gonna create a festering cesspool of pranksters who are killing each other.
Yeah, we're on the road to that, I guess. This is
how we gotta.
I mean, it's just the same thing with like how we were talking about the TikTok mass hysteria of like people Well, that's the other thing. I guess I never mentioned. I don't think we talked about how that one TikTok of the people stealing the car and just killing that person for fun. Did we talk about that?
No.
Have you not heard about that?
Hold on. They're literally just playing GTA.
Yes.
And what is this, a prank too?
Well, on TikTok, they like to call things challenges, even if it was like somebody just recorded a random video.
Oh, yeah.
So they were like...
Committing massacres.
No, seriously.
Challenge.
It was this group of teenagers.
Mass
they stole a car,
challenge.
and apparently they... Okay, so just as a preface, apparently the TikTok they uploaded, which it's crazy, they literally uploaded a video of them committing murder, was titled...
With a
It was like
cop.
titled...
Dude, we gotta get rid of this screen.
What was it? Oh, it was called Stolen Car Hit and Run Challenge. That's what they titled their own video.
That's not a challenge, that's a crime!
And so what actually happens in the video is they're in a stolen car, a stolen vehicle, and the first thing they do is just randomly run into the back of somebody's car. Okay, so like crashing into their car wasn't like total or anything. It was not that hard of a hit, and I'm sure they were uninjured, right? But then they keep driving, so that's like the hit and run. They keep driving, and then this is like trigger warning or content warning or whatever. Like, this is genuinely an upsetting, very upsetting, disturbing story. So if you want to skip ahead, skip ahead. They continue driving.
I can't skip ahead. I'm here physically.
And there's just an old man biking on the side of the road, and they're like, get his ass. That's what they say. And they just drive into the back of this guy biking. He flies over their windshield and he dies instantly. Almost instantly. Like, as soon as he's taken to the hospital, he's dead. And they uploaded that to TikTok.
Bro, this is a bit too dark for our podcast.
I know, but
I was going to say, we always got to have one topic in the podcast where we just rant about kids these days and have like
you made me think about that. It's like that's the best example of exactly what you were saying. Like, people are genuinely just killing people at this point for fun.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say, I was going to actually branch off of that other one and jokingly say, we always got to have this in our podcast where we talk about this. And then I was going to go into a thing where I say, hypocritically, though, to branch off of that topic, I feel like we're a bit too negative and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know how else to interpret news like this. Like, literally, these people are treating life like a video game. And not even a good one either. Go save the princess. Don't kill old people.
The craziest part is that it is like, They uploaded themselves committing the crime, so like they're all arrested, like they're gonna probably be in jail for life. But they uploaded the video to TikTok. Like, if somebody wanted to commit a crime for some methodical reason, like, I don't know, like people that kill their spouses, right? Because they like don't like their spouse, but they're like, I guess it's too hard to get a divorce and to let them live, right?
Yeah.
That's like, at least they have a reason, right? The reason here, and of course they try to get away with it, right? But the reason here that they're not trying to get away with it is because the reason they did it is for clout. They literally did it to be like, look, I'm cool. I killed somebody.
What clout are you going to have in prison? What clout are you going to have sitting in the electric chair, my dude? They're so
short-sighted because it's a genuine mental insanity. Like it is, I would say like a mental health problem, but that doesn't even sound like
the
drastic
whatever
enough.
Society of mental illness added like video game addiction to like their list of like mental illnesses a while back, and there was like some mild uproar about it. When are they gonna add like TikTok addiction or owning a prank channel?
They should.
To their list of disabilities?
Genuinely, I think social media addiction and like, as we say colloquially, as I called it colloquially, clout addiction is one of, if not the worst things in the world right now. Like actually.
Yeah, I know. You would never think, like, it started off when people started talking about clout. It was almost like a cop out, like a buzzword, like, oh, they're just doing it for clout to invalidate anything. But no, there are literally people who eat, sleep, live, breathe, poop, clout. Like that's their whole existence now.
Yep.
They don't need food, they don't need air, they just need clout. And it's crazy that we've bred a situation like this. And again, I'm not completely invalidating my little tangent about pessimism. It's not like I think the entire youth is going to be usurped by this movement. But there's certainly a terrible trend growing here. And we are not doing anything to combat it. Like, this is undeniable at this point. We need to take strong action.
I agree.
It's too bad that the bill to ban TikTok is secretly just an undercover motive to make it legal for the government to spy on you in every aspect of your online interactions.
The whole banning TikTok thing is sad because I don't know exactly what you meant by the spying on you thing.
I mean, it would apparently give the government access to like overwrite or ban VPNs or to spy on you, whatever you're doing, to know if you're viewing any content from overseas.
I've got something crazy for you. The government already does spy on us. The government already does spy on us.
Yeah, so I wanted to finish my claim.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and they'd like have, they do that thing they always do in bills like this, where they use vague terminology like, in order to combat any of America's enemies, it's like, who are the enemies? You didn't list them. Like, you didn't even say, like, foreign entities. You didn't even say, like, terrorists or anything like that. You just said any enemy. The enemy could be, like, on native soil, and it's just someone you don't like. It could be opinions you don't like.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
What kind of control here are you
having? The problem with the whole thing is that they were focused on the wrong issue, in my opinion, which was, like, it was basically just a whole big reason to get up in arms about, grr, China, grr, grr.
China.
Our foreign enemies,
like China,
and it's
government.
like like, you know, it's not like the Chinese government is you know, I'm pleased with them having such a control over the society of our country, or any country for that matter. That's not great, but also it's just like such a broader issue than that. It's not just about China, like you said. It's about social media in general, and whoever controls the social media, be it China or an American company like Facebook.
Or Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. It doesn't matter. It's whoever is controlling social media has a scary amount of control, period. It doesn't matter who it is. Because whoever owns that social media, the algorithms are so powerful that they can push anything they want, and you know, just social media as a concept has gotten to this point where it's so toxic. As we said, that it doesn't matter China or not. Like, they're focused on the wrong thing here, which should be not just TikTok, but social media as a broader issue. So that it upset me so much with that TikTok stuff, because like they could have done something, but they were just like, I mean, you saw the Senate hearing. They were like, so does TikTok connect to the Wi-Fi?
Hearing part 2.
Perhaps.
Does the thing that lets you see stuff from other users use the internet?
Connect to local Wi-Fi networks when your phone accesses the internet. Yeah, it's like awesome, great. I'm glad our senators know how to advocate for our country in terms of technological literacy.
No. Dude, the craziest one was they were like saying, "Can TikTok read your facial expressions?" And then the dude was like, "Can you clarify?" And he was like, can it read your emotions and know when you get happy looking at content and feed you? And he like went into like this crazy like sci-fi ramble. And I mean, if you think about it, like that is actually something you could do.
No, well, and that's already been proven in the Facebook privacy hearing that Facebook and Instagram, based on how you react to certain posts, collects information about your like mood and emotions to serve you appropriate content.
This really was the Facebook hearing part too.
So that's actually something we already know that they do, and I mean it makes sense. Yeah. They will record anything that they can that's relevant to serving you the most, like the best content that'll keep you on the platform. But what's the point of the question?
But then the thing is the guy specifically said, no, we don't do that. And then he said, we just use blah, blah, blah. We can recognize your face to add on filters. The guy hearing this obviously doesn't know what like a face filter, any of that is. So he said, so you can read the emotions from your eyes. And he was like he wasn't even able to describe it perfectly. I had to like look up what this was that he was trying to explain to figure it out. But he was like, you couldn't say that you used the internet or that you used data in any way that to them wasn't saying, yeah, all that terrible stuff, I do that too.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to hide it. And the thing is, this guy, I mean, he's probably a hired mouthpiece. There probably is stuff he's hiding that he doesn't want them to know about. But they're not going to get to it because they're a bunch of old people who don't even know how to use a telephone.
That guy was sitting there getting the most softball questions ever. He was probably sitting there like, okay, well, this is easy. I can manage this, you know? They did not ask a single hard-hitting or pertinent question at all. It's like all of those questions I could have answered myself. Like the question about the emotions, I would have said the same thing. Well, they have facial recognition, so technically, yeah, they can. But it's like you're not asking the real question, which is, hey, you have that facial recognition, but are you doing something malicious with that facial recognition? Instead, the question is just, do you have facial recognition technology? Well, duh.
And if the answer is yes, then you are reading people's minds.
It's so silly, but that's all I really have for the internet this week. I haven't been that up to date. There's probably something else, but I haven't been that up to date on the internet this week. You know, I've been in one of those periods where right now I'm pretty much just chilling in my own lane, watching Ben Dean basically. And not much else.
I was about to say we don't have any good internet news. We haven't seen any of that recently. We've both been off of the internet, but you know what? Jason's been on the internet because he's always
got to keep up to date with Ben Dean, bro.
Guys, if you want to feel better about the world, just watch some Ben Dean.
But I do have one other topic that I could start with, but unless you want to switch it up with something else first. But
well, my discussion of my afterthoughts on Pikmin 4 might lead right into our unfinished thoughts on Super Mario Wonder.
So I'm thinking that should just occupy the last half of the podcast. And for now, I talk about how last night I finished Half-Life, the original 1998 game by Valve.
Dude, you keep playing games, and then I have to play those games, but I have a job now, and I still have dreams that are unfulfilled.
More importantly, you failed to buy the Valve Complete Bundle both times that it was on sale, and I told you to buy it. $7 for every Valve game ever, and he missed it twice. Twice they had the sale, and he missed it twice.
I wanted to buy it, but I couldn't find the right bundle because it wasn't called a bundle; it was called a pack. So
no. You can't do this. You can't do this because I sent you the link twice. And then you still didn't do it.
Yes, you send me it at night, and I was tired, and I'm trying to get sleep because I have a job now, and I need sleep.
It takes like 1 minute to buy it. I don't understand that reasoning.
I get nervous when I do online purchases.
That's all you had to say. That's the real truth.
Well, I mean, I was going to do it eventually. I just didn't want to do it
but eventually
in a matter
the
of 10
sale
seconds
ends.
decision.
Anyways.
Dad almost pressured me into buying the wrong one. He was like, we can just buy the extra game that it leaves off afterwards. Which, honestly, at this point, probably would have been the better option between the two.
Well, I beat Half-Life. It took me over 15 hours, which that might not be completely accurate metric because I might have left the game up, idle for a while. But I will say it's...
Just Half-Life, not
just
Half-Life
the first
series.
Game. Because I gotta say, it is a long game. And especially for, I don't know, I guess my expectations were definitely kind of surpassed in terms of, how old the game is. It's very long. It's about as difficult as you'd expect an old game to be. I'll say that. It's very difficult. But, yeah, very long. And it was good, though. It was good. I definitely think Half-Life 2 is going to be a much better game when I get around to that, because there's also as many like issues in terms of polish and balancing and stuff as you'd expect from an old game. Like, some parts of the game are straight up broken. And like towards the end of the game, some of the areas in the end of the game, I won't spoil anything, but they're like Kaizo level difficulty, you know?
Yeah.
But luckily you can save and like load save points anywhere, so that kind of balances it out. But
oh yeah, dude, you're giving me so many good segues into Pikmin
good game.
4.
I finally finished it. Now I'm gonna play Half-Life 2. But I guess I could talk more about Half-Life, but my main point in bringing up Half-Life is to talk about Valve, to talk about how they finally just released Counterstrike 2. I don't know if you know,
another game that'll never get a third.
I don't know if you I don't know if you know, but the lineage of the Counterstrike series, okay, is there's Counterstrike Source, which was the Source remake of Counter-Strike, and then there's Counter-Strike Condition Zero, and then Counter-Strike Global Offensive, CSGO.
Dude, it really doesn't matter how many numbers are between 1 and 2 as long as they never get to 3,
exactly.
Right? That's insane.
And Counter-Strike CSGO was the most recent. I mean, it came out in 2012, but it's still been an active game up to this day, you know? Until, what was it, like a year and a half ago or so, they announced that they were making Counter-Strike 2. And so I was under the impression that this is going to be a whole new game, but it quickly became clear that it's essentially more of just a remake of Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Like, it's just a more polished CSGO, which I guess makes sense because CSGO is still like an actively played game and a huge competitive game. So it makes more sense, I guess, to like sort of polish the game that already exists and people are still playing rather than create a new game. But somehow they, in my opinion...
Have you heard all the people, though, who are upset that TF2 gets no attention anymore, though?
Yeah.
It kind of feels bad now. They've got the other one's got a full-on sequel, and they've still got no updates.
Well, here's the thing.
Aside from a few cosmetics.
Well, this maybe even makes it that even worse. I think they did this in the worst way possible because... They failed to either make it a true sequel or make it, like, I don't know how to explain this, but I just feel like they did this in the worst way possible. So what they did was not release a new game.
Did they pull an Overwatch
They
2?
did not release a new game, Jonathan. They rebranded CSGO as Counter-Strike 2.
What? No, wait, hold on. I actually haven't heard about this.
If you go...
At all.
Like, I already have Counter-Strike 2 installed because I had CSGO installed. If you go to the store page for Counter-Strike 2, as it's now called, it is just CSGO. It says it was released in 2012. You know, your playtime is 127 hours for me for Counter-Strike 2, a game I've never played, technically, right?
Exactly.
So it's basically...
That's hilarious.
What it is a giant patch to an existing game that almost, like, overhauls the game. But it's the same game. Like, it's just a... DLC, if you will.
Well, does the patch kind of justify it?
What do you mean?
Like, is it substantial?
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Substantial enough to be its own release.
But then it's weird because it still counts as the same game.
Like, you have to understand, they've erased CSGO from history by doing this. There is no more...
Wait, oh no, you're telling me they replaced it. This isn't like a separate thing.
It's CS2 is a patch to CSGO that rebrands it as CS2 is what I'm saying. There is no more CSGO. It's gone. It's been replaced.
Well, it's on some people's computers, but it's
no
it's no
you
longer...
can't play it through Steam without it updating. So no, it's gone.
You're right.
Now
there's got to be some hacker out there who knows how to.
No, there's a way that they added a way that you can, using like the developer console that is in all the Valve games. You can launch it as the like, they call it like a demo beta branch of CSGO. So you can like launch the game with CSGO settings basically.
Yeah.
But again, the store page, like we'll say Counter-Strike 2. even though it's like what was previously CSGO for 11 years, right? So it's just so weird because all of your achievements, all of your playtime, all of your statistics and everything is like, it's like now ported over to a new game and the old game is gone. And
it's almost like soft lost media.
You get like, yeah. Obviously the reason they did this is that they didn't want people to still be playing CSGO after the new game comes out, right?
Yeah, this is such a weird decision that you can really only chalk up to marketing. But how is this? Because marketing and PR go hand in hand. How would you think of this as a good PR move? It's so strangely unarchivistic, you know?
And that's what's weird coming from Valve, who's like every single game they've ever made you can download, right? Like I have them all because I bought the Valve bundle. I have like every single game.
What is hiding in the original Counterstrike that they don't want you to see?
I have every single game. I have all the previous Counterstrike games, but like CSGO now will never exist again, and it's just so weird how it's like it just feels wrong how it's like erased now. And there's some big backlash
to the original Counter-Strike is the entire plot line to Half-Life 3.
Yeah, you're right.
They had to write it out. They had to overwrite it.
But yeah, there's some pretty big backlash. People are like review bombing it and stuff, which is funny because you're really review bombing Counter-Strike Go, you know?
Yeah.
But that's why it's just
I'm
so
not
weird.
Sure. Review bombing, I don't think ever really works as intended. It's kind of just a way to get people's anger out.
Oh,
it feels
they
like
also apparently CS2 doesn't run on Macs, and apparently CS:GO did, so they just got rid of a whole operating system support. It's just weird. It's just so weird.
It is, dude. How recent is this that I didn't? I mean, I told you I've been sort of off the internet.
It launched a couple days ago, so.
Oh, okay, that explains why I wouldn't have even heard about it. Wow. Have you heard? I brought up Overwatch 2 very casually a while ago. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I feel like that's already over. Like it's just dead.
Overwatch 2.
Because.
But yeah, I'm not an Overwatch head. I don't. The last time I remember caring about Overwatch was when, like 5 years after I said it should be on Nintendo Switch, they finally added it to Nintendo Switch. But I've been hearing about it. It's basically like people have just been saying this whole time because they add plenty of like new characters over time to the original Overwatch, and that's what almost seems like the new selling point of Overwatch 2. And so people have basically just been arguing about like what justifies it as a sequel as opposed to just more new content for the base game. And for a while they were pushing, there's going to be this big single player campaign. And then after a while of that being their excuse for why they're making a sequel, they just said, we have dropped all efforts on the single-player campaign.
Yeah.
It is no longer going to be included. And that's just it makes me wonder if they were ever really planning.
Again, all of this just feels like the same larger pattern that's been going on in the gaming world, where companies are just basically they're just fully in the whatever is best for their bottom line, and it's like any sort of like what?
Oh no, you can keep going. I might not hear every word because I'm a bit distracted. I'm trying to do a little bit of my own Jamie in the background.
Well, yeah, it just feels like, if you thought for a second, if you thought from the perspective of a fan, you would be like, yeah. They're not going to like this. Like for the CS2 thing, they're not going to like that we've completely replaced CSGO rather than just releasing it as a new game. Like I feel like anybody in the development of it would be able to just intuitively deduce that. But they have to know that and then still not care and just try to essentially damage control it after the fact. And I feel like that's just pretty much what's been the standard now for, for big game development companies. It's just like, let's do whatever's best for us and try to mitigate the, negative response to it as much as possible.
It's like, it's almost like you see it with like indie developers, they get over ambitious with their product and then can't deliver on it. But it's like they're almost going into it knowing they won't deliver, and they're just using the hype around what would be ambition, but for them is just profit, to like stir up interest, and then hope that they can excuse away reasons to not lose that interest once they find out that it does not live up to the expectation.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, I'm looking at this Counterstrike website, and I'm looking at, they have like the updated maps here, and like the updated graphics showing the comparison between CSGO and CS2, because it's ported to the Source 2 engine, so it's like better graphics and lighting and stuff, and they look so much better. Interestingly, they look so much more colorful. The maps are so much brighter and more colorful, which is crazy, because I think shooters are heading in the direction of being more colorful when they've always been notorious for
effect.
Yeah, they've always been
Honestly,
notorious for being like realistic and gray.
Hold on, I got to do a bit more Jamieing now.
So colorful.
I know Epic Games makes Fortnite, but there's the other company that works with them, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah,
Fortnite.
it's just like I would like literally I would just I don't know I would have paid for CS2 if it was a new release. You know, I would have just paid for it and played it. And I don't think that they should have relied on the fact that or I don't think they should have been like, if we make it a separate game, then some people will still play CSGO, which is going to mean that our launch isn't as good. No, forget about that. Like, let people play the old game if that's what they really want to do, you know? And if your game is good enough, then they'll probably try it out and move to the new one, right? Like, to me, it almost feels like a lack of confidence or something. Like, but you can also be proud of your history of having of your old games and keep them alive so that people can see where you progress from, which again is like what Valve has always done. So it's just crazy that.
Yeah, it is. It's very off-brand for them. Valve is one of those companies that I want to admire, but like Nintendo, they do some stuff that I just can't side with. And while Nintendo actually seems to be on an upward shift, I think Valve's going downhill definitely lately.
Yeah.
I mean, already they're more known just for their game store than anything else.
Which got hit with a massive lawsuit about being a monopoly.
Yeah, honestly, it kind of is at this point. Like, I mean, earlier I was describing like PC gaming as essentially being equivalent to the Steam store, and you were kind of pointing out how that's not true, and it isn't exactly true, but it almost is for a lot of people.
Now all the big AAA companies are trying to make their own game launchers. There's Epic Games, there's Origin, there's Battle.net. Like, there's just so many of them now.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely not like Steam is like the default. It's like, especially if you're an indie developer, where are you going to release your game? Steam, And I do wish Valve would just like continue making games because they're good at it. But
yeah,
again, they make more money by just publishing games, than making them.
I know, it's so.
There's no passion left in it.
We as consumers don't have. They always say vote with your wallet, but this is something so complex that it can't just be, determined by us buying or not buying software. Like, we have no stake in the stupid decisions, like the completely different directions and turns that companies make. There's nothing I feel like we as consumers can do now to tell Valve to like stop monopolizing the game store sphere and start just making cool games again. Like, we don't have that degree of input, but that's what we want.
Yeah, like the best you can do is buy the Valve bundle, I guess. Play Half-Life. Yeah. But it's not even like that's making them much money. Yeah. So
we need this is why I'm like pro union, because this is not a workers versus employers situation. But I like it when the lowest end gets to consult with the upper end, It'd be nice in a similar way if the consumers could like more directly give input to developers in a way that they were sort of required to listen to, because I mean their job is to make stuff for the consumer.
Also, if developers had the same level of like control over the direction and management of these game dev companies, then I'm sure the outcomes would be a lot better. Because the developers themselves are the ones who probably have the actual
it goes even higher than the
passion
developers.
for, you know, making this stuff that they're doing, but they sort of have to follow orders of the higher ups who are
because that's what people said
and
about
their job
Nintendo
is
for years.
their job is not to make the games, it's to make money. So it's sort of at odds.
Exactly what people said about Nintendo, about how they love Nintendo's developers, they hate their business end, you know?
Yeah.
But I was gonna touch up a little bit back there about.
Well, I'm done
all
with
in favor.
I'm done with CS2. I've talked my brains out about it, but so you can move on to.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna talk about.
No,
CS2
I'm just saying
anymore.
you can move on to whatever stuff you want to talk about now.
Oh yeah, okay. You were validating that. Okay, I was gonna briefly touch on the whole Fortnite effect, as I called it. I am all for games becoming less visually bland. I am not saying that there is never a case where gritty realism doesn't have a place
Like
in the
Half-Life,
aesthetic.
it does great in Half-Life.
Yeah, but it definitely feels like not only do some people take it as like a standard, like an expectation for certain genres like shooters, but some people just legitimately think it's just better overall. Like, look how realistic the graphics are. It's like real life. Okay, I don't want... Real life sucks. Somebody ran over an old dude. Give me Super Mario World. Let me touch the Wonder Flower, you know?
I remember back in the days,
Let me have a bit of
the
fantasy.
more colorful your game was,
Be
the
creative.
more you get made fun of for playing it.
Exactly!
It's like, bro,
Kids
you
would
play
make fun of
Mario?
me for
That's like,
playing any-
it's like the equivalent of like a kid's book. Like, you know, with like cute little drawings and stuff. It's like, oh, I read novels. There's no pictures. You read. It's like
You could even-
making fun of somebody for reading a graphic novel or like a comic versus just a regular novel.
I feel like you could even tell someone you play like Metroid, and assuming they even know what that is, just the fact that it's attached to Nintendo and has like brightly colored character designs despite the like darker world setting and tones, they'd still like treat it as like a kid's game.
Which is
Metroid on your little 3DS.
which is crazy because Metroid Prime is not even that. Like it's I won't
Who's the
say
guy who
it's
made the Alien movies? H.R. Geiger inspired beast beyond our comprehension. Aww.
Metroid Prime is pretty drab and gritty in terms of its design and its look and feel.
But I mean, they still add that touch of color, of creativity. It's not just like bare bones, like
because you shoot lasers
creepy
instead
blobs.
of golden bullets, you know, like
Yeah.
So it's visually more flashy than a typical shooter.
It's just cool. They just do what's cool. That's why I love Nintendo's developers. They just do whatever's fun. You hear them say that all the time in interviews. We just did whatever was fun. And sometimes it's a bit hard to believe that it's that simple, but I do think that is generally
that's
their
the root
primary
of game
purpose.
design.
Yeah. But so many people now are like, we did the surveys, what we thought would get the most viewer attention. We did what we wanted people to be addicted to our game, and we found that under
it's like
these
a
experimental
formula.
Yeah, I know. It's like how to get people to act like your game is fun in spite of it not being fun. Like they've given up on it being fun. They're like, how can we get people to react as though it were?
Basically, like all
It's
those
crazy.
yearly releases of the sports games. It's how can we republish the same game with like as minimal effort as possible while still convincing people that it's something worth buying and worth playing. And I feel like most of that boils down to just like the FOMO of like, hey, do you want to hop on FIFA? Oh, you don't have the new FIFA, so we have to play the old FIFA? I already sold my old FIFA game. You know, like it's basically just you got to keep up with it at this point.
I've already sold it, dude. That describes it perfectly because you nobody wants all those FIFAs, you know, when it's the yearly releases and it's because it's based off of real world sport. It's just soccer again, you know.
Soccer.
You can't
but
even add like
next year.
new mechanics and stuff.
I mean,
That's wild.
actually, the one thing that I think they did with I think they did this year with it's not even called FIFA anymore because they didn't pay FIFA for the licensing. Like to use the name FIFA, which is that's fine because that was just FIFA being greedy. Apparently, they were asking for an insane amount of money for the license renewal. So now it's just called EA Sports FC or something.
Yeah.
But I think what they did was like they added like more women and stuff, something like that. Like
now with more women,
they added. There's one player that has like a amputated arm, so they added that.
I mean, this is.
But that's like basically the only thing you can add year to year is like if new players get signed to different clubs or whatever. You know,
yeah.
That's about it that you can change. It's like it's not like the sport's changing. So.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, although when you put it in that context, it does obviously sound pandery. And I mean, like, I feel like what else is their motivation other than to be like, look, we got a paraplegic player. Look, we got more women.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, oh, crazy, we modeled a slightly different body type by just like removing the arm polygons, basically.
Imagine what if they straight up go like Paralympics? They add wheelchair soccer mode to the next.
But see,
game.
that would be fire if they did that. Actually,
it would, because it'd be a different game mode. You'd have different controls and stuff.
And then if they got more creative and added like, just
you know what? Yeah, I'm sold on my own idea now. Please add wheelchair soccer into the next soccer game.
And if they added game modes with like
real research on the different players, add the real best wheelchair players into the game
with like cheats, as they call them, just like wacky like game modes and game alteration stuff. Like that's how you make a game fun, but it's not formulaic enough, so they can't do that.
But here's the thing I was looking up about Fortnite a while ago.
Excuse me. Yeah, the other company apparently that works on Fortnite.
Yeah, here's what it is.
What it is.
Further, Epic was looking to get into games as a service model, and this is just from the Wikipedia page, and brought in Chinese publisher Tencent, who I hear a lot about. They're like,
yeah, what does that mean though?
They're becoming like one of the largest companies in
Tencent
gaming.
is the largest gaming company.
Well, already?
Yes.
Really?
They own,
and yet all they do is essentially have stake in other games.
Yeah, they own Supercell. Like. They own Riot Games, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, Supercell, you used to be big into Clash of Clans, and now they've gotten really monetized and really...
Yeah, Riot Games, which is League of Legends, and Valorant and all that stuff is owned by Tencent. Supercell, all of that. But what are you saying about Epic Games with Tencent?
I feel like I kind of liked Epic Games as a company.
Oh, Tencent acquired a 48.4% stake. Equating to 40% of Epic.
But I feel like, just like as I was saying with Supercell, when Tencent started getting involved, it's a games as service model was their motivation for bringing them in. I feel like ever since that, I've not been able to, like, I was never into Fortnite as a game, but I liked Epic Games as a company. But after that, I feel like I can't just say that anymore. I haven't liked a lot of decisions they've made consistently since then. On the creative side, there is stuff that, like, Epic Games continually does, always in Fortnite, because that's essentially just their bread and butter at this point, that I can get behind.
Well,
but
did you hear about how they just laid off hundreds of employees suddenly?
No.
Epic Games did. That just happened recently. It's like over 600 employees just randomly laid off. And it was really funny. The next day in Fortnite, they had a scheduled release of a new emote called Share the Wealth, where you just throw around money. That's the emote. And that happened right after they fired hundreds of employees.
Dude, that's so poorly timed and hilarious.
They had to take it down, dude. They actually had to take it down.
They actually took it down? That's so funny.
That's crazy. I actually didn't know that Tencent bought part of Epic Games.
Yeah, I'm surprised you hadn't heard about that.
And Epic Games buys so many games themselves that now that means, like, Rocket League is now indirectly owned partially by Tencent.
Yeah, they're starting to just lose their identity. That's why I feel like ever since then they've just been sort of dissolving.
That's what...
Like, it's almost not, like, distinctly bad choices. It's just like they're like Steam again. They're just hanging on to what they have and monopolizing.
It's the same thing with, like, Xbox talking about buying Nintendo. It's basically just, like, to be in the gaming industry... I mean, this... extends beyond that, but definitely in the gaming industry, it's like,
I mean, look at what
who
Disney
can
does.
own the most other stuff, you know?
Dude, I was really thinking about how Disney, like, hasn't done anything. Like, because even back in the day, Walt Disney, all of his animated properties that they made, the Disney princesses, they're just Grimm Brothers fairy tales that he rewrote. like, when you look at, like, actual original Disney properties that aren't made by other companies like Pixar or the more recently acquired, like, George Lucas Studios and...
Avengers.
What's wrong with me? Marvel.
Yeah.
It's, like, just Mickey Mouse. And even that was just a reworking of a character that he made because someone else suggested it to him for like a comic.
Hey, well, it's better.
Disney has like nothing
at least
except money.
At least they actually produce something. Epic Games just buys other games that are free to play.
Yeah.
Or no, not free to play. It buys other games and makes them free to play and just converts them to like the service model.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, that's when, as you said, my respect for Epic Games, like, back in the OG days of Fortnite, I actually liked Epic Games. And back when they were still, could be considered less of, like, a evil monopoly company. But now they've proven that as soon as they got their hands on money, all they do is just buy other games and, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Absolute power does tend to corrupt. Absolutely. I don't believe in that 100%, so I guess I can drop off the second absolute there. Absolute power corrupts
a lot
most of the time. But yeah, like you could take anything really and you give it the means to not be as good as it is and get away with it. And like more than 9 times out of 10 they're going to take that choice, unfortunately. Be it individual people or companies. They're just not going to stick with cuz doing the right thing pays off, but sometimes people who have found a way to work around this system give other people the way to work around this system, and we become complacent with it or don't have enough power to override it from our end, and they just take that easy out, and then they do just fine with it.
Yep. But Pikmin 4, though.
The other thing I was jaming... Oh, what were you going to say?
I said, but Pikmin 4, though.
But Pikmin 4, though. Actually, this is coming interesting that this topic, this podcast is so gaming focused. We are going to get into Pikmin 4 because I finally won it, and my opinions on it have evolved quite a bit. Jason dropped a quarter.
A penny.
A penny. Drat, I can't tell what kind of metal and what radius it has and what
it's a
the
wheat
president's
penny.
face is on it. Wheat penny? Oh, nice. Show it on camera? No, don't really. You don't have to. I was just going to say real quick, I'm impressed.
You said you don't have to because you didn't want to you have to do any extra editing.
Exactly. Yeah, Jason's recording live from Schrodinger's study hall right now. It is definitely not his dorm room.
Wait, my dorm room is a study hall. I mean, my...
Yes.
Yeah, like...
You can't prove it's
not. The world
not.
is my study hall.
Dude, exactly. Life of the big man on campus, literal campus, the up and coming greatest college student jam lab.
Up and coming.
But I was impressed with how well I was listening to what you were saying while I was jaming here. But one thing I was jaming, I wish I could remember, and maybe you can, the exact thing you said about like yeah, we were talking about how like game companies these days will be like, they'll promise this huge experience. I mean, like, think about like what was the Cyberpunk, and then pre all the updates and DLC that sort of accommodated for it, No Man's Sky. That's the perfect example of what I was talking about.
No, the perfect example is Battlefield, what is it, 2042? That is the worst performing game ever.
Well, that's probably why I've never heard of it.
The Battlefield series, huge, notorious for being awesome. Battlefield 2042 was like broken and terrible when it came out. It had one of the worst ratings on Steam for a new release. It has like a 50% rating at this point still.
Whoa.
It was crazy. Such a failure. And yeah, that's probably why you haven't even heard of it.
But yet, like, does it meet the model I'm about to describe?
It just killed the Battlefield series, which is crazy.
Did they promise insanely big things and then insanely
of course. They were like, it's going to be awesome, it's going to be amazing.
And make profit?
And then it was terrible.
Yeah. Exactly. But here's the thing. This is something I just heard about pretty recently. And I don't know a lot about it. I have to admit it. I hadn't heard much about this game beforehand. You probably heard at least the name of the game, Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah. Game of the year, probably.
And apparently, this game is insanely huge. Giant world, giant characters, giant lore. well, the characters aren't literally giant, but they're very expansive in their interactions. But maybe there are giant characters. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not familiar with it. But it's like huge branching paths of storylines and character interaction. It's just so in-depth and detailed, and there's so much you can do. And it's started like a low-key drama where people are like saying... There are companies who have literally gone out and said that they can't meet this standard. And then people are getting up in arms saying these are just companies trying to, maintain their lazy lifestyle of essentially the same practice we were talking about, promising big and then insanely under-delivering. This game promised big and delivered. But there are now some people who are actually coming out of the woodworks and saying, now this game kind of is insane. Like, this shouldn't be the standard. This should be the exception. And some people are on that side, and other people are like, no, all of our games need to be ginormous. And I do agree that there's a sentiment there that and it certainly, these game companies are scared because even in a best case scenario, they couldn't dream of doing this because they don't want to, even if they had the means to do so. This isn't in their preferred business model. They want to underdeliver. But at the same time, everything I hear about this game, games don't need to be this gigantic. And that's the best argument I've been hearing people say is people are equating big games to good games. I watched a YouTube video talking about this, and they really don't need to be.
Yeah.
I feel like at the end of the day, this mentality is actually hurting indie developers because they can't. Like these big companies, they at least hypothetically could make a game like this, even if they don't want to and can't be driven to because they have easy outs, like we said. But indie developers literally just can't. So what are you saying? Their game's doomed? It's not good? Because they can't meet this standard now? And it's sort of a recurring thing. Like I talked about, I don't remember what game I was referring to. Oh, we were talking about Mario Wonder, about how they found a way to add, online multiplayer to that. In a very unconventional way, but they found it. And I was talking about how nowadays it feels like a requirement. Like games have to have online multiplayer, usually an online versus too, to feel valid in the gamescape. And I'm slowly starting to realize there's a lot of weird standards like that. Because you really don't. A game can be fine, perfectly 100% single player, no online functionality, and still be fun. It's just something we're used to now, and the game feels empty without it. But it really doesn't need to be there. And again, that's something not every indie developer would be able to meet. So it puts an unrealistic weight on an indie developer's shoulders. Another one I've been seeing lately is any time that a game that could even conceivably be considered open world is released, everyone's like, is it open world? Is it open world? And then when they find out it isn't, they get disappointed. It's like, does it need to be every single time?
I would just like to I would like to say something really quick about Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah. I just checked.
Please enlighten me.
It's developed by Larian Studios, which is a Belgian video game developer and publisher founded in 1996 by Sven Vink.
Nice.
And it does not have a parent company or anything. And apparently Baldur's Gate 3 was made using Kickstarter money. So actually...
Yeah, it
is kind of, in a sense, an indie game. Not exactly indie, but indie. Double A kind of game. So...
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying it could be even worse, because then you could literally say, well, look what this sort of indie developer made.
I feel like...
But it is an anomaly.
I feel like...
No regular indie developer will be able to make that.
Yeah. One of the other things, though, is when you look at Baldur's Gate 2, which it was developed by a different company... But just thinking about the gap in time between the development of the games in these series. Well, actually, there was a Baldur's Gate 3 that was announced in 2001. Baldur's Gate 2 came out in 2000. But that Baldur's Gate 3 announced in 2001 was then canceled. And then 23 years later, I guess 22 years later, you have finally Baldur's Gate 3. So... Another thing is just actually taking your time to make a game, or even canceling it. If you don't think you can make it, live up to its standards, and then taking time to perfect it is also something that, is like you were mentioning indie companies. They don't always have the time or resources, but they can't. I guess they don't have the time to make it as fast to produce yearly release kind of thing like these big companies.
I described it as an anomaly, which makes it sound more like it's luck, and that is a big part of it. But it's honestly, this is just an extremely privileged circumstance,
Where they can take their time, you're saying?
Yeah, where they could afford to take their time and all that. And
but that's what I'm saying is like
product.
That the time I think is just a necessary part of making a game as good as that, because you
and the worst part is if you make this the standard, sure, maybe someday we'll be able to create games like this, but like how infrequent are releases going to be at that point? You know. But
I mean, like, think about Half-Life came out in 1998. Half-Life 2 came out in 2004. I mean, that's a sequel that's 6 years later. And by today's standards, that's like ages, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just by today's standards. Like, I feel like that's not that crazy, especially when you think about how much Half-Life 2 improved on Half-Life, for example. So I really do think that mentality is just kind of a result of the oversaturation of the gaming industry now, where we're so used to releases coming constantly because of bigger companies. But I feel like that shouldn't be seen as the expected or normal. I mean, same with like writers. I mean, it takes years to make books. Usually albums from artists, bands, they take 1 to 2 years depending on the length of the album to make those releases. So I don't see why it's so crazy for a game which is like a combination of all these different art forms to take, you know, as much as 5 years sometimes.
Yeah. I think a common problem is people need to put this in context. I think this should be the standard for any game that takes this long to develop. But a development period that long is itself kind of an unrealistic expectation.
Unrealistic for the developer?
Under any circumstance. I'm not saying you could never have a development period that long, but like I said, with the expectation of game releases these days, you're not typically going to have that.
Well, it's probably not going to work out for you if you're releasing games that slow nowadays.
Yeah. If
that's what you're saying, yeah.
And an indie developer, on the other hand, also, you know, both sides, big developer, small developer, that's a lot of effort to put into something and then
have it not pay off.
I mean, maybe if you're like Star doing it and that's like your magnum opus and then you're just
But that's the thing, it just comes down to whether or not you're lucky enough to have your game perform well. Because if it is, then you can be like, or like Toby Fox, you can just be like, okay, I made the one game and I never have to make another if I don't want to. Or I can make Deltarune and make it take like 5 years to come out in chapters, you know?
Yeah.
But it just comes down to if
Toby Fox is kind of following that methodology. He's really taking his time.
Yeah, but again...
And I appreciate it because he can afford it, but he's like self-aware. Like he knows that it's to make the best product possible. But for like a significantly more indie developer like him, that obviously like, you know, it's still a little pixelated RPG, standardized RPG. It's not quite on the scale of obviously the AA Baldur's Gate 3. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be put in perspective.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. Welcome to the gaming podcast.
Yeah, it really is. I was gonna
gaming and apparently
and killing old
people.
Unfortunately, and TikTok hearings and stuff like that.
See, no.
Actually, how did we transition to gaming? I'm
Half-Life.
Oh yeah. You just sort of did a hard transition. I was gonna say the example I had about like gaming standards these days, about games having to be open-ended and open world. I saw an article recently. I remember when the new Pokemon, like, you know, sort of the new approach to Pokemon they have now, the bigger worlds, and it's much more like
bad.
You know, not the overhead view it used to be.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of people who were disappointed at first when it wasn't open world completely. And I was like, I don't know if my Pokemon needs to be open world.
No,
I don't know if Pokemon is the best example, though, because I don't know anyone who isn't like a little kid who's still invested in the Pokemon series anymore. Everyone who used to like Pokemon doesn't anymore. Like, I've talked to so many people. I know you're this way.
I think the open world thing kind of killed Pokemon. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Pokemon.
They tried too hard.
I feel like the point of Pokemon was you have a region in every game, right?
Yeah.
And you explore that region, and you explore the cities and the places within that region. It's not like some giant map like Zelda where you're just on your own. Like, the whole point of it is that you're like going through these towns and stuff, and you're fighting trainers and whatnot. Like, that just, to me, the open world thing doesn't combine with Pokemon at all. It doesn't make sense in my mind at all. I don't get it.
Yeah, Pokemon almost feels like they were like a victim of all these expectations, like I was saying. Like, they saw all of these things that are the expectation, and they tried really hard to meet all of them, and then just made the game worse and also way harder to make.
I think part of this is, like, again, at the level of...
You know what? They really, actually, hold on, I just want to add this. They really did do, like, all aspects, even, like, not in the game design itself, because they're, like, going for, like, the yearly releases like we were talking about now. And it's really putting a strain on everything.
Yeah. I again think it comes down to probably a little bit higher up than the developers thinking, hey, look, games that are popular right now are doing these things. You need to do them too.
You just wait. They're going to add microtransactions to the next Pokemon game.
Breath of the Wild, open world, massively popular. Everybody liked it. Pokemon, you're not doing so hot, so let's try something new. Do open world. Like, no, just focus on refining the aspects of what makes Pokemon Pokemon.
Exactly.
Don't try to steal from something else. It's like, it's a matter of time before Pokemon becomes a battle royale somehow, you know? Like everything else.
That's why I like, yes. I mean, Pokemon made an MMORPG now. Have you seen that?
What are you talking about?
You haven't seen, it's like a League of Legends type thing.
What?
Or MMORPG, maybe isn't the right word. What is the name for that genre?
League of Legends, is this just a strategy game? I don't know.
Yeah.
But what is it? What is it called? What are you talking about?
Pokemon Unite or something.
Oh.
You never heard of it?
I don't know if I've heard of it.
And it's extremely pay to win. There was a huge drama around it. So there is microtransactions.
They've been through.
I just meant in the main line when I said that.
Trying everything with Pokemon. They tried mobile games. They tried
fighting games.
They've tried bringing back old games. They've just done everything at this point.
I mean, they are I know they're the most successful game, franchise in terms of, all things, merchandise and all that included. I don't know how big they are in terms of, all, entertainment and just branding. They are way up there.
I saw somebody post.
So they're going to reach out everywhere they can.
On X about...
On X.
They posted, a screenshot. They said they replayed... I forget which game it was, but it was one of the old Pokemon games, I think it was, Gold, Silver... something.
Yeah.
And I saw the screenshot and it just almost brought a tear to my eye, dude. It was like, man, I really... Oh, and then the official Pokemon account on X posted a little... It was like a screen recording of a clip from Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, this one part in this game, which I remember because I had so many hours in that game. And I saw both of those within the past day. And
so many hours with toilet paper stuffed under
Shut up, bro.
So you could run in circles to hatch your eggs.
And it's just giving me flashbacks. It gave me flashbacks, and man, it made me miss Pokemon so much. It gave me such hard nostalgia for Pokemon. But it's just
you were
so
big
sad.
Into Pokemon.
It's so because if they had another game like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, which I think is one of the best Pokemon games of all time, I would buy it in an instant. It would make me so happy. But instead, I'm so sad because it just
this whole time
feels
we've been talking about how we got to make our own Mario and Luigi. We got to make our own Pokemon so that they can cease and desist us.
Yeah, let's make a Pokemon Black and Blue too. How about that?
Oh no, that's the PETA knockoff, isn't it? Dude,
the
PETA has no
Pokemon
sense of fantasy.
Animal abuse.
Game where humans can fight and get hurt? Okay. Game where animals can fight and get hurt? Evil. Hurt people, not animals.
Exactly. So, I mean, what if the people running PETA are not people?
Bum, bum, bum. They're animal supremacists. They're giraffes in suits.
No, it's the Chick-fil-A cows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wait, no. The Chick-fil-A cows are purely selfishly motivated. They're eat more chicken, not us. They're
I mean, but at the end of the day, what do they really want?
Us.
They just want themselves to live. So a win for
is
animals is a win
actually,
for them.
you know what? That is what PETA is, because PETA doesn't care about animals either, actually. They put them down on the daily in bulk.
That's true. Give me 1 second. My AirPods are like glitching out. I'm gonna disconnect them.
PETA's motivations
Now
are
say
completely
something.
beyond our comprehension. I was just ranting to myself about PETA's motivations being completely beyond our comprehension.
Okay, I can hear you now. Well,
What happened?
Oh, my AirPods were like, the Bluetooth was like glitching out, bugging out.
Oh.
Well, we have about 7 minutes. So
7 minutes? What, really?
Yes.
We should seriously just make the podcast 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 22 seconds.
know.
Because think about it. Our average runtime has become like 1:45 or something.
Dude,
that's like maybe 30 minutes more.
Somebody made Pikmin 4 on Roblox.
What? Oh, I'm not surprised.
But like,
have you seen like all those
it looks
Roblox
good,
games?
dude. Like, it looks like Pikmin 4.
Yeah, no. People have made so many. They're just like, I saw like a Roblox. I was surprised it was made in Roblox. It was just like a complete recreation of Bikini Bottom, and you can play as like fully rendered, like detailed models of all the characters, and it's just like one of those like in-game.
I didn't know that was
chat
a thing.
forms. Yeah, people make these things where you can just like have full models of characters and walk around in different locations.
Yeah, I mean Roblox gives you the flexibility to do that. I just
have, like,
thought of what
emotes and everything.
Somebody made the analogy about what like the CS:GO CS2 situation is like, and I just thought of it because of something I just read. What was I saying? Oh, somebody compared it. Somebody said it's like the ship of Theseus, and I feel like that's a good analogy to make. It's
I love that one.
It's like CS2 is sort of like a giant update to CS:GO, but it's like almost so different that it should be its own game. So you've essentially just you've essentially just removed CS:GO, and it's just something different now.
Yeah. The real ship of Theseus is in a warehouse somewhere, and by that I mean somebody has like a backup saved, and they're running it on offline, whatever demo mode, like you said.
Oh, the other problem with it though is that now all the old CS:GO servers that were built for CS:GO don't work with CS2, so they just like instantly killed a bunch of community servers as well, which is also very off-brand for Valve.
Yeah, Valve used to be like, pretty pro-consumer, and that's just like straight up anti-consumer.
I don't know what they're doing, man. I just don't know what they're doing.
I mean, it's like I said, they're progressively becoming everything that you hoped they'd never be.
By the way, the murder corn cob as a murder weapon could be off your screen if you just left the activity, like I did, like an hour ago.
I don't know how you leave the activity.
It replaces the disconnect button. Like in Discord, where there's normally the disconnect, like hang up button, there's a little like door with an arrow that you press to leave the activity.
Leave activity. Oh, yeah. Okay. How'd Gartic phone go? Tell us about your activity experience. Smiley face.
Smiley face.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're like basically out of time. Well, no, we have like 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, I'll wrap up by saying I was
but not
originally
enough
when I was
time to
talking
talk about Paper Mario Thousand Year Door and Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake.
Yeah, I know. Jeez,
and
dude.
the fact that they're making so many remakes. And Princess Peach game. And
we were too busy talking about the game environment to talk about game news.
You know what's crazy? Did you hear about the Pokemon Van Gogh collection thing?
No.
So they announced.
Hold on, someone's about to walk through my door.
Okay.
Okay, I called it too early. Sorry. Keep going.
So basically, here I'm gonna send you the link so you can watch as I'm talking about it.
I'm still recording. Just walk through.
There was like a collaboration.
That's exactly what I imagined it to look like. That's so cute.
There's a collaboration with the Van Gogh Museum. And what they did was they had some kind of promo cards thing, it says, where you can basically, what is it? I don't really understand what the whole thing was, but apparently there's like this promo card you can buy. And you can like get this exclusive Van Gogh merch. There's this merch page here, with like shirts and there's a backpack and stuff.
And they're just Van Gogh merch. Like, are they just Van Gogh themed, or are they Van Gogh Pokemon?
It's Pokemon Van Gogh. Like, there's a Smeargle painting here.
Oh, that's very appropriate.
And all this different stuff. But apparently, because of Scalpers, as soon as it went live, it instantly sold out completely. Everything.
Yep.
And
bro, I just can't with scalpers.
They didn't try to do any kind of thing that nowadays a lot of companies do, where it limits you to buy like one per item per customer. So scalpers can't just buy 12 million of them.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that, so like everything's just sold out.
Dude, scalpers in situations like that where they have the option, like you said, to do it conveniently, which is usually what's kind of more convenient just for everyone. But, you know, it just creates an environment where like everything actually costs 10 times as much as it does, and instead of going to the company, they get royalties based off of just random people who are just greedy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so dumb because that doesn't make any sense.
The company themselves wouldn't like it either, because like at the end of the day, they could just be charging the higher price themselves and then making the money for themselves.
Yeah. At the very end of the day. Because like if they literally just started selling at the prices that scalpers are at, people call it a ripoff. But like we're headed towards that area where now that's what people just expect to pay for, because that's what they're getting from scalpers.
This is their official account on X. They X'd. They X'd a X. They wrote an X. They posted an X.
Wait. Oh, yeah. They X'd. That just doesn't work.
We are actively working on ways to provide more Pikachu with gray felt hat promo cards for fans shopping at Pokemon Center in the future.
And please put a limit on them.
But yeah,
did they say anything about that?
They're getting some crazy backlash in the comments.
We're currently working on a way to further the scalping problem.
I know, it's like, yeah, we're gonna release more. Don't worry, guys.
Don't worry, we're feeding the scalpers.
There won't be any problem if we just release more, right? It's crazy. I hate scalpers though. Like, scalping should be a crime, but it's like, how do you illegalize that? Illegalize nuclear bombs.
Well, I mean, like you said, with the limitation of purchases per user, but then, I mean, you know, you can always make alternate accounts and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There has to be somehow, like, you have to like legally prevent scalping, but I don't
There's
think
at most ways to combat it. But it would be nice, because, like, I mean, even if they said there wasn't any direct way to stop it, if they just acknowledged a way to fight it, like, it would be nice if they just acknowledged it, but it's, as a company, they probably don't want to, because they just see sales either way, you know, whether it's a scalper or not.
Dude, apparently they changed some of the text in the Pikmin 1 and 2 remakes.
Huh? Oh, wait. For what reason? Brand relations?
I just saw a meme it's like the SpongeBob with the paper and then he throws it in the fire. And it's a picture of, instead of SpongeBob, it's the Pikmin 1 and 2 bundle game. And it says...
Oh, that bad?
And then the paper says, Olimer's dysfunctional family, Louis' abusive past. And then it's throwing it in the fire.
What? They got rid of that?
So
I think people overplayed the dysfunctional family thing.
Apparently they changed some of the text, some of those emails text.
Well, actually, dysfunctional doesn't have as strong of a connotation. I've heard some people say that, like, Olimer's wife is straight up terrible, but really it's sort of like a subplot where if you take way too long on the adventure, and I kind of like this because there's otherwise no time limit, you know, then your wife starts to get greedy with all the money you're making and starts...
The wife, instead of saying she bought lottery tickets, said that a pickpocket stole from her.
Okay, now that's just stupid. What are you trying to cover up here, Nintendo? It doesn't... is this about women? Do they not want women? Do they not want to paint a bad image of women or something?
Well, here's one from Olimer's daughter. Mama said that if I don't study hard, I can't become a proper lady. They changed it to, I can't become the best me that I can be. I guess that makes sense.
I can't become a woman in STEM.
Is it really okay if I don't become a perfect proper lady? Is it... And then they changed that too. She said it's okay if I don't study as much. Is it really okay if I don't work so hard to be perfect?
Bro, this is rewriting history and unnecessarily.
Oh, and then Louis' grandmother says, you hated to play outside, so I made you eat bugs and plants. And they changed it to, you didn't like being outside as a kid, so I took you there to learn to love plants. We ate a bug or two as we went.
Dude,
that just
they're
doesn't
rewriting
make,
history.
That just doesn't make sense.
This is rewriting history. It doesn't make sense.
Because
characters are
Louis
allowed to
loves
be
eating
flawed,
bugs.
especially if it makes them more complex. This is like the Roald Dahl rewrites. This just makes no sense.
Yeah,
what are they even trying to...
You gotta keep the part about making Louis eat bugs, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. Otherwise it all falls apart. All of the lore about Louis eating bugs.
This is wrong! Oh, and it perfectly leads into things I was going to say about Pikmin 4!
Did you predict
But we don't have time to talk about Pikmin 4.
Did you predict that Louis would have his own creature entries in the
Well, duh, especially after Oliver had his own.
Yeah, but like, wasn't it still like? I mean, obviously I saw it coming, but wasn't it still like, no way they brought it back? You know?
Yeah.
I was just a little bit like, no way. But then again, it is Pikmin 4 is Pikmin 2 too, so.
Yeah, it is. But bro, unfortunately, we don't have time to talk about Pikmin 4 unless, like I said, you want to take this longer. Honestly, this would be perfect. Like the all-out gaming podcast.
I have way too much stuff to do today. I cannot do a 2-hour podcast. And
you having too much stuff to do leads into a topic I have too.
Nobody listening has the time for a 2-hour podcast either, especially not 2 hours and 22 minutes and
Jason,
22
this could
seconds.
be our best Jason, I need you to listen.
I'm listening.
This could be our. How does this sound right now? I'm like an inch away from my microphone.
It sounds like you're doing ASMR.
This could be our best podcast ever.
Well, it's too bad that I have to do a write-up for my algorithms class.
No!
I have to explain an algorithm that can calculate the number of inversions each element in an unsorted array would have to do when doing insertion sort, and count them all in n log n time using a divide and conquer algorithm.
You started cutting out there, and for some reason I decided to rest my thumb on the power button of my PC right when you were saying that, so I got scared and thought I turned it off for a second. Why was I even doing that? Dude, why do I have like some sort of weird habit of putting my finger and like resting my hand on dangerous places? There's something wrong with me. Like I've been doing this since I was a kid and I don't have time to elaborate because the podcast's almost over. Okay, quick asterisks. When I was first bringing up the expectations for like open world and non-linearity in games, I was going to mention an article I saw that was saying developers said that Pikmin 4, why am I saying Pikmin 4? Metroid Prime 4, the other big 4 Nintendo's got, would not be open world, but it would have huge areas. I don't know exactly what open world would even mean in the context of a Metroid game. Like, it's kind of open world, but it's also segmented, you know, like there are different areas. Like, how would you even make an open Metroid game?
Open world is too broad of a term. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, what does open world really mean?
They sounded upset
about it. Are we talking about
and
just, like, large maps, or are we talking about truly, like, a sandbox kind of game?
And they presented the title like it was, like, a kind of disappointing find, and I don't know if this is just game journalists not understanding words and also trying to stir up drama where it isn't, but I hope no one's actually upset about that, because, like, I don't know how you define, you know, like a Metroidvania type game, an open world, 3D or 2D. Because obviously this is a 3D game, it's the Prime series. But it just, like, it doesn't even seem compatible to the Metroid formula. Like, yeah, they have, like, different areas. You're, like, exploring, it almost feels like a hollowed out, like, facility or something, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not always man-made structures, but it's that same sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't see how that works. In like a
so that article felt kind of odd and out of touch with me. I just hope no one's actually upset about that, because to me, Metroid Prime 4 sounds like what we're talking about, where they're really taking their time with it. I mean, everybody, when Nintendo comes out and says we're not ready yet, I'm sorry, and people are like, no, that's good. Then, like, you know you've done something right. Like you remember back the thing where they were like, we're not pleased with Metroid Prime 4. We're switching things up. We're starting over, essentially. Like, and everyone was happy with it. I'm actually really excited for Metroid Prime 4. When it comes out in the year 2040, I'm gonna be all over that.
You gotta play Dread first, but I'm also very excited for the next Metroid game, because
you gotta play. This is again another one of those. This is another thing where I said,
"Oh, dude, this makes me want." I feel like you're about to tell me I need to play Luigi's Mansion 3, which I do, and then that made me think about how we need to talk about how they're remaking Luigi's Mansion 2, aka Dark Moon.
Yeah, that totally caught me off guard. Dude, for the first, femtosecond of that release, I thought they were about to release Luigi's Mansion 4.
I know,
and I was
too.
I was having a conniption.
I almost had, I almost had a stroke, I think, is the best way to put it.
But yeah.
I do need to play Luigi's Mansion 3, though. But I need to come get the Switch first. I don't have it, so I can't. Otherwise, I would be.
Yo, dude, I actually think I made this same connection, too. Well, no, I made this...
It's funny because anybody listening thinks you're just having, an episode right now talking to yourself.
Yeah,
or maybe
Jason
they're having
posted something in the chat
that
I don't want to talk about because I wanted to save all the Pikmin 4 spoilers.
Then let's...
I mean, this is like a soft spoiler, but the thing I was going to bring up branching off of this is a spoiler, so... But
we're fresh out of time.
Who am I? Where am I going? I wanted to save the spoilers, which is why I'm probably going to put an alert in again, what you were talking about before.
We're fresh out of time.
Which I'm not going to repeat. I want to save it for when we actually have the full discussion. But we don't have time for that now. The only other thing I was going to say is, and this was going to be a segue into Pikmin 4 at the time, but now it's going to be a cliffhanger. When you were talking about Half-Life and how you just finished the first one and then you're doing the second, I was going to bring up how we always talk about old games because we're always behind on stuff like this. Because obviously it's not a new game.
I was born after Half-Life came out, guys.
Yeah, I know. but it's fun to do retro reviews and stuff. Although a lot of people have to put them in that context. They have to say, reviewing this game, does it hold up? Something like that. So-and-so's first time playing blah, blah, blah. They've never played it before. Can you believe it?
Right.
That kind of thing. But I was going to bring up the phenomenon that I feel like kind of happens to me and you also, where we sort of play something just in time for it to become relevant again. You just wait. When you finish Half-Life 2, they're going to finally make Half-Life 3. I'm calling it.
Do you know the lore of Half-Life 3? They made Half-Life 2, and then they made what they said was going to be, in essence, Half-Life 3 in the series of 3 episodes. So you have Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2.
So each game has episodes equivalent to its number? Because 2 is split in 2,
listen to me.
As well?
It's Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2. And then they came out with Half-Life Episode 1. And they said, okay, Half-Life 2, Episode 1. And Half-Life 2, Episode 1 through 3, it was going to be a trilogy of episodes that would basically make up what they said would be essentially Half-Life 3. So you'd have Half-Life.
The series left on Half-Life 2. Though.
Listen to me, I'm finishing. Oh my goodness.
Okay. Sorry.
Half-Life 2, and then there was the 3 planned games: Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Half-Life 2 Episode 2, and Half-Life 2 Episode 3, which together would be like Half-Life 3. The hilarious thing is that they made Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Half-Life 2 Episode 2, and then Half-Life 2 Episode 3 got canceled.
They can't even do subsections of 3, dude.
Episode 3 got canceled, which effectively also canceled it left the trilogy that would have made up Half-Life 3.
Dude, this is insane. This is like a curse. Like Gabe Newell made like a bargain with a demon. Like, I will make you an incredible game designer, but you will never be able to create anything in 3s.
Yep.
It's like...
But yeah, so if you think about it, there's
that's just... It's hilarious. It's a running gag at this point.
There's technically 4 main Half-Life games, but Episode 1 and 2 are sort of mini game, or they're part of a whole trilogy that would be together one full-length game.
They're side stories almost?
But it was left unfinished. Kind of, yeah. They're just they're not full games, full length of Half-Life or Half-Life 2. Because they're meant to all run together, but then that never happened. So yeah, it really did end on
crazy.
A cliffhanger.
I basically heard that story. I forgot the minor details, the exact context you put in, but that exact context, it really is. It's just crazy. It's it's asymptotic. They can get closer and closer, but they'll never finish it. So you just wait.
They never will. And TF2,
they will announce,
Counterstrike
here's
2,
what's going to happen.
Left 4 Dead 2.
Here's what's going to happen. Right
Portal
when you
2.
finish, yes, right when you finish Half-Life Episode 2, they're going to announce Half-Life Wait, is it Half-Life 2 Episode 2?
Don't forget, they also came out with Half-Life Alyx, the VR game.
Yeah, you got to play that too, and then they're going to come out with Half-Life 2 Episode 3 Part 1, and they're never going to make Part 3.
It's going to get subdivided so much that you have a single scene from a game.
Half-Life 2 Episode 2 Part 2 Chapter 2 Section 2. It just keeps getting smaller. That is literally mathematically an asymptote right there.
You get to do one key press per game at some point.
Yes!
It's like a choose your own adventure where you press one key press per game.
They literally block you off with an invisible wall that crashes the game right at the climax of the story, of the final turning point of the entire series. And then that's it. And then Valve goes bankrupt and they dissolve. But
so
from
of
there
that.
I was going to say
Come on, we gotta wrap it up, buddy boy.
Well, no, that's what it was. From there, I was going to say, that's when I was talking about how we start things just in time for them to become relevant again. I feel like we started Pikmin 1 and 2, or finished them up, or at least finished up the, all the stuff we were playing together, like the mission mode. We didn't fully finish it up. We did that afterwards, but we got to that part. Right around when Pikmin 3 came out. So that was, a good timing for us. But I don't remember exactly if that was how it planned out. But then that was going to be my segue into Pikmin, which now we don't have time to talk about. Mad unfortunate. Join us on the next episode where we're going to talk...
Are you saying that every time that we, like how you said, when we finished the Pikmin 2 mission mode, Pikmin 4 got announced, so when I finish Half-Life 2, they're going to make Half-Life 3?
Yeah. I feel like when we finished Pikmin 2, just the game, or you did, because you were after me, then Pikmin 3 came out. And then when we finished Pikmin 2 100%, that's around when Pikmin 4 was starting to come out.
We're actually the main characters living in a simulation, and the world conforms to our reality. And with that...
Yeah, dude, no. Genuinely. And with that, join us next time where we talk
where we
about
introduce ourselves in the beginning of the podcast next time.
I've been the bro host.
I've been the co-host.
And join us next time on the next episode of the Escape Podcast.
Yes.
Where we talk about the specific games we've been playing that aren't Half-Life. And the the company that made those games put out recently that has some interesting stuff. So, Mario, Pikmin, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about everything on the Direct. And a bit about my personal life that I didn't get to talk about because I was planning to talk about it this time. For the first time in my life, things are happening to me. It's not just Jason. Whoa. Yeah. Get hyped. Get ready.
He's in his things are happening era.
Yeah. Or am I? Find out next time. Subscribe. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. After thing. We gotta do an after thing.
We have to.
Enjoy your algorithm.
Now it's forced. Now it's not natural. Now it's not real, raw, legit.
Well, you know what? I kind of like forcing it because I don't like just saying bye and then hanging up on you, dude. It feels rude.
Yeah. But then once we finish doing the after thing of the podcast, well then...
Hold on. Whoa, and we forgot to clap again. Oh my goodness, bro.
Whoa.
Dodged a bullet. Woo!
Oh, I forgot to count down. I don't know why you thought you...
I'll do it.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Cool. I clapped. I didn't hear your clap, but...
Yeah, I know you can never hear mine, but I heard yours.
But yeah, then once we finish this, then we're going to say bye again after we're not recording. So there's layers. Anyways, yeah.
That's 3 goodbyes. That's more than Valve could ever muster.
Have an N-log N day. Goodbye.
Yes. Bye-bye.